Hello, everyone, and thanks for watching. I'm Kevin Hensel here with State Representative Matt Smith. And of course, government reform has continued to be a very important issue. Give us the latest on what's happening.
Yeah, it's a huge issue, and there's a couple areas that we've really been pushing over the last couple months, and I think constituents will see over the next couple months. One of which is a return of the legislative surplus, which is about $200 million, and according to the latest legislative audit and finance committee audit of the surplus. And I've been pushing to return that money to Pennsylvania taxpayers because I think they can put it to much better use in creating jobs and providing for affordable and accessible health care and growing our economy through homegrown energy jobs. So I think that money needs to be returned to the taxpayers. I've pushed for that over the last couple months in particular, and I think you'll continue to see that over the next couple months, that money shouldn't be resting in the General Assembly's hands. It should be residing in the Pennsylvania taxpayers' hands. So that's one of the big reform issues you'll see over the next couple months. The other is, of course, something that I've talked about for a couple years now, which is downsizing the size of the legislature. And I've been very supportive of Senator Pippy, who's our state senator in a large chunk of my district, his efforts to downsize the House to 161 members and downsize the Senate to 40 members. And I think this will decrease costs and also lead to greater efficiency in the General Assembly. And I think it's incumbent on state government and the state legislature in particular to really do more with less at a time when a lot of families and a lot of businesses are experiencing this economic downturn. We need to make sure that we're spending money in the most efficient and effective manner possible, and as I said, doing more with less. So I think cutting the size of the legislature is one of the ways that we can tackle and address that goal.
Well, you're certainly looking at attacking it from two different angles. One, reducing the size and the cost of the legislature and giving some $200 million back.
That's right. And I think, again, it's all about the cost. And one of the proposals I had a couple years ago was cutting the cost of the General Assembly by about 20%. And this would save about $66 million. And again, when you add that on top of the surplus money, there's a lot you can do with that money that I think would be very helpful to Pennsylvania taxpayers in the area of health care, economic development, all of those areas. And we're dealing with very tight budgets in this day and age. So we need to make sure that we're pushing as much money as possible out to the taxpayers and operating in the most efficient manner possible as a state legislature.
You also have a very interesting idea when it comes to how judges get on the bench, how they're elected.
Well, yeah, exactly. One of the ways, one of the problems I've seen over the last couple of years is the huge money that flows into judicial elections. And according to one study, in the last Supreme Court race in 2009, about $5 million, $4.5 million went into the campaigns of the respective judicial candidates. And what that does, in my opinion, is maybe there's nothing nefarious going on, but it certainly creates the appearance that justice is for sale, and there's a perception that maybe not everyone is getting as much of a fair shake as possible. But I think what my system does is apply to appellate court judges, so the Supreme Court, the Superior Court, and the Commonwealth Court, and we would appoint judges to those positions rather than having them run for a particular office. And that would take a lot of that special interest money out of the process.
And an important part of that idea, I believe, is the average person would have an opportunity to have a voice.
Exactly. The key part of that system, and let me just sort of walk you through the process there, is the Citizens Nominating Commission. And this Citizens Nominating Commission would be made up of 14 residents of Pennsylvania, 4 appointed by the governor, 4 appointed by the General Assembly, and 6 public members. And the public member component of the nominating commission is very important because those individuals would include representatives from unions, from business organizations, from non-lawyer professional associations, from civic groups, from public safety organizations, from the law school deans throughout the Commonwealth. So that Citizens Nominating Commission would serve as sort of a screener and evaluator who would recommend the most qualified candidates to the governor for nomination. That particular governor would then nominate those individuals from the list, send those individuals their names on to the Senate, who would then confirm those judicial applicants. And the one key part of this system is those judges would still have to go up for a retention vote to the public for a yes or no retention vote. So the public would still have a role, But what this system does is ensure that the most qualified and competent candidates are being recommended for these judicial openings.
Certainly an important idea, certainly an interesting issue. We want to thank you for joining us to tell us a little bit about your ideas for government reform. If you have questions, you can always visit the representative's website at www.pahouse.com/msmith. Thanks for watching.